Paul Neeson here, and I'm going to make my famous almond milk that everyone seems to be wanting to know the recipe for. This recipe has no sugar in it at all, and it's very healthy, and it tastes like candy. I use it several mornings a week out of the week, and I highly recommend people use this often. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the almond milk, and then we're going to add all the other ingredients. And how do we make almond milk without any sweeteners? Well, we're going to use stevia. We're going to use the stevia that I've been talking about and been selling for quite a while now. It's a green stevia. It's not the white extract or the liquid. It's a green stevia that has all the medicinal quantities in it as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with a recipe for one person. Now, if there's more people in your family, you can just double or triple this recipe and so on. But the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make almond milk. And the way to do that is we're first going to get some almonds that we pre-soaked overnight. We pre-soaked some almonds overnight, and these almonds are not pasteurized. You can contact me on my website, paulneeson.com, and you can email me and I can let you know where to get almonds that are not pasteurized. I sell them on my website as well. So we soaked them overnight, and then the first thing we did is we have 1 cup of almonds here. So we're going to put 1 cup of almonds here into the blender. We're only going to do a recipe for one person, but if you want to have this for 2 people or more, you just double the recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 1 cup of almonds and we're going to put it right there in the blender. And then we're going to take 2 cups of water. Now, here goes 1 cup. Now, some people like to do 3 cups of water to save money, obviously, because you'll get more milk. And you can do that. I usually do that. But today I'm doing 1 cup of almonds and 2 cups of water only, because that's the original recipe and that's the way it tastes the best. So we have our almonds, we have our water in the blender, and the last thing we're going to add here is our vanilla. Now, some people like to use vanilla bean extract, but I'm going to use the actual vanilla bean. This is not a short vanilla bean, it's a half vanilla bean. To save money, I've only used half because you still get the same taste from a half of vanilla bean. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take 2 ice cubes. Now, the reason why we're taking ice cubes is this is going to blend up really fast. This is a real high-speed blender. It's called a total blender. Some people call it the Champ. It's very similar to the speed of a Vitamix, which is another popular blender. So we're going to put the ice cubes in there so it doesn't heat anything up too much, because we want to preserve all the enzymes as possible. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to turn this on here. So now we blended up our almonds, and now we want to separate the pulp and the liquid. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour the almond drink that we just made through a strainer. Now, this is a nut milk bag that I sell on my website at reallife.com, but you can get them just about anywhere these days, or just cheesecloth will do. You can also go to Home Depot and just get a paint strainer. Believe it or not, that'll do the trick as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're just going to pour it right here into this nut milk bag. It's also known as a sprout bag, but the nut milk bag is a little finer, so it just strains it a little bit better. And then we have this here in a bowl. We have separating the pulp, the liquid from the pulp. So we're just pouring it out like milking a cow. Well, we're not milking cows because we don't drink cow's milk. So we're separating the pulp from the liquid. And this is a basic almond milk recipe, and most people traditionally use dates or honey to sweeten up the almond milk. I'm going to be using stevia today, but still, this is the same base that you would use for any almond milk. So now we have our almond milk here in this bowl. We have our almond milk. Now we have a whole bunch of pulp left over in this nut milk bag. So if we look at the pulp, we're not going to be using this right now in this recipe, but we can use this pulp later on for something. If you want to make cookies in a dehydrator, or banana bread, or just any treat, or you can also put it into a nut seed loaf or something like that. But we're not going to be using that now. We're done with that for now. So what I want to do first is I want to clean out the blender so I get out all the little pulp that we didn't pour out. So I'm just going to rinse this out real quick. There's no soap or scrubbing needed because we didn't cook anything, so it's not sticking to the blender. So here we have the clean blender, and don't forget to clean the cap also, because that'll also create a problem there. So So we have the clean blender as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to simply pour the milk right into the blender. So we have our milk we just said. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ingredients. It doesn't matter what order you put the ingredients in, but all of it should be in there. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a green powder. This is called Power Powder by Hippocrates Health Institute, Life Give. I find this to be the best tasting, most nutritious green powder on the market. I sell it on my website on rawlife.com. Everything that I use for the ingredients I have on my website, rawlife.com. I only have things on my website that I would use personally, and this is one of them. It's also known as Pure Synergy, which is more of a popular name for this powder. But we're going to take 1 teaspoon of this and put it right in there. That's the first ingredient we're going to use. The next ingredient we're going to use is we're going to take some camu powder. Camu is a fruit that comes from overseas, and it's the highest amount of vitamin C that you can get from a nutritional standpoint. And it's the highest amount of vitamin C that you can get from a food. And it's grinded down into a powder, and we're just going to put in there it's very bitter, so we're going to put about a half of teaspoon of camu powder. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take maca, another superfood. It's a root that has been grounded down into a powder, and we're going to take 1 teaspoon of maca. And again, all of this is on my website at rawlife.com. You can get the almonds that are non-pasteurized. You can get the power powder, the maca, the camu powder, and then my favorite, the chia seeds. Chia seeds gives it a great flavor, and also it makes it like into a malted consistency. So we're going to use about 2 teaspoons of chia seeds. And then the next ingredients we're going to use is some hemp powder. The hemp protein powder really gives us those essential amino acids and those essential fatty acids that seem to be missing on a vegan diet. So we're going to put about 1 big heaping teaspoon of the hemp powder. You can use a tablespoon if you want, but I put a teaspoon. And then finally we're going to use some salt. We're going to use some Celtic sea salt. We're just going to put a pinch of that in there, just to give it a little bit of flavor. Now, if you don't want to use that, you don't have to, but I really enjoy the flavor from that and also the minerals I get from there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put stevia. The stevia is not the white stevia extract or the liquid extract, so we're going to use more than we would use in those. Now, this stevia in this recipe does not have an aftertaste, which is one of the drawbacks of those different types of stevia. This is the best-selling item on my website for a reason. Again, we're not putting any sugar or fruit in here, and it tastes like candy. We're going to use a whole teaspoon of this stevia here, and that's going to flavor it. Now, again, this whole bag will last a long time, even using that much. But you will just enjoy this. I use this stevia in all my smoothies and my drinks and so on. And then the final ingredients, we're going to put some ice, because we live here in Florida, and it's going to make it nice and cool for us to enjoy. And also, it's a high-speed blender, and it kind of heats up when you blend it. So we're going to put about 5 or 6 ice cubes in there, just to make sure it's a nice, good temperature for us. So then we're just going to blend this up here. Then we're going to take our little glass here, and we're going to just pour it in here. And there it is. One of the best raw recipes you'll ever have. It's simple, it's easy, it's nutritious, it's sugar-free, and it's green, and you will love it. It gets better every time. Have a great raw life.